On the witness stand this week, we've got Jen Bacon talking about personal academic tutors.
I'm Jen Bacon. I am the Faculty Academic Support Lead for the Schools of Law and Tourism. My role is looking at the operationalisation of the PAT system within our school and looking at student retention, hopefully holding on to students who are considering withdrawing.
What is the main duty of PAT?
The main duty of a PAT is to support students to achieve their academic and personal ambitions. And the main way we do that is through signposting them to services within the university that suits their individual need.
What percentage of students actually use their PAT during their studies?
Unfortunately, the university doesn't currently collect that data, so I can't give you that data. However, this year we've just introduced a new system where PATs and their tutees can interact through eVision, so hopefully going forward we'll be able to collect that data and share that.
Do you get the feeling that's sort of a high amount, or do you think it's sort of...
From discussions that I've had with staff in the past, I think very few students interact with their PATs, and this is why we've had to look into that so that we can make sure students are aware what PATs are and how they're going to support them. I think many students think that a personal academic tutor is only there if they've got issues, so they don't tend to use them for the support that we are actually here for. So I think we recognise that we do need to increase that interaction, and although staff do try and engage with students, inviting them to meetings, often students don't come back or they don't turn up for meetings, and we want to improve on that.
So, what you mentioned there about students only feel like to go to the PAT when they've got like an issue. At what instances do you think when students are confused about whether to go to the PAT or whether to go to the lecturer about an issue? So how can a student tell which is which?
Well, PAT is there to support students. Obviously, for example, if you've got feedback from an assignment and you don't really understand the feedback, use the time with your personal academic tutor and they can go through that feedback with you. And if it's been identified, say you haven't done referencing very well, your personal academic tutor can refer you to the study skills in the library who can support you with that in order to improve your grades for the next assignment. There's also academic writing, where if your style, you've lost some marks in the style, your personal academic tutor can support you by signposting you to the Studiosity service that we offer, which helps students with academic writing, and also again the library does do some support with that. So anything that is a support where the student needs a little bit of help, the PAT will support with that. If a student doesn't know something or they didn't understand something on a lecture or a module, so say a module leader is talking about something in the lecture and the student doesn't understand, then that's when they would go to like the module leader or perhaps programme leader to discuss any issues they might have. One of the things that I know that comes up quite a lot is students often need clarity around assessments. So when they need the clarity on assessments and what's required of them, that's when they would go to like the module leader, programme leader, where after the assessments and they want to understand their feedback more, then they can come to their personal academic tutor and they can signpost them, say what's been said, and then signpost them to the necessary service.
Do you think that the PAT service gets lost in the amount of services the university provides?
No, I don't. But I do think because students don't fully understand what the PAT service is, they go looking for services and they get a little bit lost and confused as to what all the services are for, when in reality the PAT will tell them the service that they need to use. So it's good to talk to your PAT because they'll tell you directly which service you need, rather than the student go fumbling about trying to find the service that they think they need and end up maybe in a queue waiting to see somebody for a service when actually they need referring elsewhere. So the personal academic tutor will send the student to the right service in the first instance, so the student's not getting messed about.
So you feel like the PAT is sort of, in a way, like the central contact for students that have any sort of problem or just an inquiry
Yeah,
around anything other than their specific module,
yeah,
they should go to the PAT for that.
yeah.
That's their first port of call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that probably linked in with what you're saying about the PAT, is there a sort of point people towards the right services, and how sometimes people don't know what they get lost looking for that services? Do you think that it goes underutilized because people in turn underutilize the PAT, who isn't able to then point them in the right direction?
I mean, the services that we have are well used, but one of the things we're finding is sometimes people are approaching those services when actually they need another service. So the PAT is underutilised because people approach those services when in reality, if people use their PAT, rely on them a little bit more to point them in the right direction, it frees up space in the services when people have referred themselves to a service that actually it's not that service they need, it's another one. So if people use their PATs more, they would get to the right service, and hopefully it would make their process a little bit quicker for them to address any needs that they have.
Is it on the onus of the PAT to engage with the student? Is there time frames? So at the beginning of the semester or at the end of the semester, does the PAT have an obligation to contact their students that they have on their caseload, or is it just a as a need basis? So you, as the student, contact the PAT when you need them.
The PAT should always make the first move for the students. They should make it clear at the start of the year to the students who their personal academic tutor is. So perhaps even a group email to the tutees to say, welcome, I'm your personal academic tutor, and we'll discuss in the first session, if they're going to hold a group session, what my role is, how I'm going to support you going forward, and where to come if you have any questions, queries, or you need some support, or you need pointing in the right direction. So the onus is on the personal academic tutor initially. The personal academic tutor, it works differently for different faculties depending on obviously the need, but generally there should be a meeting in semester one, whether that be a group meeting or a one-to-one meeting, and then there should be another meeting in semester two. I work as in, I'll have a group meeting in semester one, tell students who I am, give them a little bit of background on me, and then tell them what I do to offer a service to them and how it's going to benefit them going forward. In semester two, I'll do a one-to-one, then we can catch up on any feedback that's come back from the assignments in semester one in order to improve for semester two, and then discuss any concerns that they might have had in the first part of the year, and then help them going forward and signpost them there. Initially, I'll tell students though, because often when people come to university, they are very lost. Sometimes might not have access to systems and they really don't know who to talk to. I'll tell students, if you need to speak to anybody before the first meeting, drop me an email, or going forward we'll be interacting on eVision. So drop a message to the eVision system, I'll pick that up and I can respond. But the onus is on the personal academic tutor to contact the student first, and then students can contact their personal academic tutor as and when it's needed.
Yeah, so just touching on that, you mentioned it a little bit there, about coming to university, not being able to access some systems, not everything runs smoothly for every student, but a lot of students don't maybe access their student email for a long time.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason they haven't accessed that, they haven't got their email from their PAT, where can they find who their PAT is?
Their PAT at the moment is only available on eVision, but at the induction, staff should be telling students who their PAT is. So I know that our induction this year, the 3 personal academic tutors who will be looking after the students at stage 1 made themselves known, made themselves clear, so that regardless of who their individual PAT was, at least they had a point of contact in one of those 3 people. So they know out of those 3, it would email all 3 of us and one of us would pick it up. But going forward, once they've got access to the system, they know out of those 3 that one of them would be their personal academic tutor.
So if the university have an issue with a student, if say they're looking at the attendance and the attendance is dropping or it's been low for a while, should the university go and speak with a PAT first, or should the university goes straight to the student?
It has previously been, if a student's attendance has been flagged up, the progression team saw this and they would highlight it to the programme leader and they would contact the student. We've got a new system that starts this month actually, called the Predictive Analytics Dashboard. And what it is, it's hooked up to our university timetabling system where students scan in and it monitors Canvas usage. So where a student is not attending and they're not engaging on Canvas, and they drop below the threshold, an alert will be sent to their personal academic tutor, and then their personal academic tutor needs to contact the student to check in with them to see if everything's okay. One of the issues, I did a bit of an audit on this last year on old systems that we had. We found that students who were shown as not attending were actually attending, but perhaps their card didn't work and they didn't realise. So it can bring up little things like that where it's something that's quite easily fixed, and rather than showing that they were not attending or like engaging. So yeah, that information goes straight to the personal academic tutor, and then it's up to them to reach out to the student to see if there's anything they can support with.
That's all of our questions. Do you have anything else to add about your personal academic tutor? Any goals for the year in terms of what the university want to achieve with the new systems and the new processes?
Yeah, well, thank you for your time, for starters. The university it's a high priority for the university going forward to make sure the personal academic tutoring service supports students in the right way. Obviously, we want students to succeed and do well. And obviously, with going to this system to have data, then we can obviously talk to students on that. So we recognise that things aren't like kind of happening, you're not attending, you're not engaging, talk to us. So we're hoping with the new systems in place, it's going to aid communication between PATs and tutees. And obviously the end goal would be to see students succeed and achieve everything that they want to achieve.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
No problem.